Hey guys, welcome to today's video, which is going to be about projection in depth. If you've ever been stuck in a toxic relationship that you couldn't escape, the chances are you've dealt with someone constantly projecting onto you. You know what I mean? That frustrating experience where they accuse you of things that you didn't do or push their own feelings onto you, leaving you questioning, wait, is it really me or is this all them? It's exhausting, confusing, and emotionally draining. Today we're going to cover projection in depth, what it is, how it plays out in narcissistic relationships, the brain science, and you can click off or stay for the Bible's take on it, as I believe it's the world's oldest mental health protocol that's, of course, obviously religious too. I've been thinking a lot about projection because it's something that happens to all of us, especially in relationships. Psychological projection is when someone unconsciously pushes their own feelings, insecurities, or beliefs onto you as if you're the one feeling them. And in toxic or narcissistic relationships, projection is often a defense mechanism used to manipulate or control you. And if you've been through this, you've probably felt like you're carrying the weight of somebody else's issues without even realizing it. For trauma survivors, here's what happens in your brain during these experiences. When you've been exposed to toxic dynamics, especially narcissistic abuse, your brain's amygdala, which is the fear center, I don't know where it is in the brain actually, becomes hyperactive. And this makes you more sensitive to projection because your fight or flight response gets triggered more easily. It's like your brain is constantly on alert, trying to keep you safe, and this makes you even more likely to react to someone else's projections or even project your own feelings as a defense mechanism, not a manipulation. So what exactly is projection? It's when we can't deal with something within ourselves, whether it's a fear, an insecurity, or even anger, so we push it onto someone else. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, called it a defense mechanism, saying everything that irritates us about others can lead to an understanding of ourselves. So in other words, when you see someone projecting onto you, it often reveals something deeper that they're not willing to face about themselves. So let me give you an example from my own life. I once had this person who kept complimenting my green eyes, and I think my eyes are great, but not that great, and I don't value my looks particularly compared to who I really am as a person. So after they were pushing this, I realized they were projecting their own love for green eyes onto me. It wasn't really about me, it was about them. And I've been guilty of this too. I've had times where I assumed what someone else needed or wanted based on my own insecurities or fears, only to realize they weren't even on the same page as me. You know, that awkward realization? Yeah, that's projection. But in a toxic or narcissistic relationship, projection takes on a much darker tone. The abuser will accuse you of things they're doing themselves, like cheating, lying, manipulation, because they can't face their own guilt or issues. If you've been there, you know how hard it is to constantly be told that you're the problem, when deep down you know it's really them, projecting their own behaviors onto you. So, here's where it gets interesting. Not only does projection play tricks on your mind, but it also has roots in our survival instincts. Your brain wants to avoid discomfort, and when you feel threatened emotionally, your mind will automatically push these feelings onto someone else. It's a mental reflex, but it doesn't mean it's healthy. Carl Jung also said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So this is crucial for healing. Every time we catch ourselves projecting, we have an opportunity to learn and grow. And from the faith perspective, and you can click off if you want, we're called to believe that we are good people and be good people and have a very, very strong identity, so that if anyone comes against us, and we can go to God and say, you know I am good, you know I didn't do this, you can search my heart, God, and you'll know I'm good. We're called to have such a high self-worth that we don't get confused by projection, and we are called to ask God for the help when we need strengthening, when people come against us, and pray for what we want without the burden of feeling like we've been bad, and to know who we are in Christ. And I feel like this isn't too far from the modern psychology's take on it to gain a stronger identity. So what can we do about it? First, when someone you notice is projecting onto you, take a step back and ask yourself, is this really about me or is this about them? And try your best to answer, and you'll get better and better as you practice this. And when you catch yourself projecting onto others, just pause, take a deep breath, and ask, what is it that I'm avoiding within myself? Every time we become aware of projection, we have an opportunity for healing and growth. Thank you so much for watching.